Hey everyone, welcome back to In the Alley. My name is Cody. Glad you guys are back for another video. Week 15 is upon us. 5 games on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. Let's talk about the 5 today. Let's go. All right, kicking us off here on our Saturday slate. We have some early games, some later games. Let's talk about the early ones first. We have a 7:05 p.m. Central Time kickoff. Where else but the Indoor Football League Network? The 3-9 Fishers Freight taking on the 7-5 Tulsa Oilers. A little bit to talk about in this game. No TJ Edwards. He has been placed on short-term injured reserve. You see that down in the injury report. No one else has really thrown a pass or done anything at quarterback for Tulsa, so we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's take a look at our season leaders. Carlos Davis, who is on short-term injured reserve 2. We'll see how that plays into it. But Carlos Davis, 46 of 78, 443 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Vincent Espinoza might get the start. We might talk about someone else too. Hassan Rogers, no one else has thrown a pass for Tulsa yet, so he has taken the torch. We'll see how he plays. Dominic Roberto, 36 of 134 yards, 3 touchdowns. Hassan Rogers, 116 carries, 398 yards, and 6 touchdowns. In your receiving leaders, JT Stokes, 30 catches, 326 yards, 4 touchdowns. And Sheldon Juju Augustine, 27 catches, 235 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Taking a look at the injury report, Carlos Davis is really the only one of note for Fishers. So again, passing yards leader is going to be Vincent Espinoza. That's a flub on my part. And then for the Oilers, TJ Edwards, Kerry Reynolds, a little bit of offensive firepower right there on the short-term injured reserve list. So that's how we have it right now. Both quarterbacks kind of going down. Taking a look at the game odds over here, 83.5 is your over-under, and minus 8.5. Tulsa favored by 8.5 at home. Plus 220 if you want Fishers on the road as an underdog, or minus 270 if you want Tulsa at home as the favorite. Speaking of home, we are at the BOK Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and our series head-to-head favors Fishers. The only time these two teams have met all the way back in week 3, Fishers winning 40-29. So, with that, let's go take a look at the 25-man rosters, bet and prediction. We got 4 more previews after this. All right, let's take a look at the 25-man rosters as they pop up over my face, starting with the away side first. For Fishers, we have Vincent Espinoza and Felix Harper, the former Massachusetts Pirates Bay Area quarterback, coming over. Vincent Espinoza obviously playing in relief of Carlos Davis last week. Your running backs, Dominic Roberto and Josiah King. Now, I don't follow any other league minus the Indoor Football League, but Josiah King, I was told, or have read, I guess, was on the MVP candidacy in the AF1 for Corpus Christi, something like that. So that's a little bit of firepower to the running game. We'll see if Fishers gets back to their power running style. Wide receivers, JT Stokes, Isaiah Cox, Journey Sloan, and Julian Walker. And then on the offensive line, AJ Forbes, LaQuinston Sharp, Daryl Simmons, Jatarius Spivey, Jeremy Cooper, and Darius Long. We'll see if Darius Long plays any sort of defensive line, because on the defensive side of the ball, Christopher Oakley, Jalen Swan, and Akeem Smith are the only 3 defensive linemen. You might need someone there to help spell that and get a fresh body in every now and again. Linebackers Cam Hunt and Tamar Hart. We'll see if Hunt drops back into the secondary, as he has been prone to do for the last couple of weeks or so. Sean Steele, Aaron Jackson, Jaden Rowe, Justin Terry, and Justice King round out that secondary and the defensive backs, and your kicker is Callum Sutherland. Over to the Tulsa side of things, Hassan Rogers is the quarterback. Kobe Gaston is going to be your backup. Now, Hassan Rogers was part-time, quarterback, well, not part-time, but full-time quarterback for Duke City at a certain point last season after Joe Mancuso and a couple of guys just didn't really work out for the Gladiators, but Hassan Rogers played really, really well. I was really excited when Tulsa signed him, so we'll see how he goes. Martez Carter, your running back. Wide receivers, Max Novak, Jerminic Smith, Sheldon Augustine, Josh Crockett, and Cole Blackman. Faison McClurge is off to the United Football League again, so give and take, I guess. Offensive line, Tariq Stewart, Zach Branner, Brian Nolan Jr., Anthony Kennedy, and Kadir Counta coming over from Green Bay, getting released over there, coming over here. We'll see if he suits up at all. Defensive line, Ulrich Jones, Jacarius Smith, Trey Smalls, and Rashawn Williams. Linebackers, Dylan Petway, Trey Harvey, Marquez Bembry. And in the secondary for the Oilers, Taylor Hawkins, Ryan Nixon, Sedarius Doss, Kentrell Pierce, and Caleb Lee Collins. Kicker is Ross Moore, and that is your 25-man roster for Fishers, your 25-man roster for Tulsa. Let's go take a look at our bet and our prediction as we move along. All right, so bet and prediction time for this one. Plus 8.5 for Fishers. I'm riding the momentum of the Hail Mary, giving them some confidence. Vincent Espinoza looked pretty good at the quarterback spot. He is a veteran of this game. And that's not to say on the other side, Hassan Rogers, not necessarily a veteran, but he has played really well this season, albeit not taking a snap at quarterback or true quarterback, if you know what I mean. But he did play quarterback for Duke City. I like what I saw last week with Fishers going toe-to-toe with Green Bay and pulling out the victory. Now, Tulsa going on the road to Massachusetts, everything that happened with TJ Edwards, this is a rallying point for Tulsa. If Tulsa can win this game, this puts them at a very good chance of not only making the playoffs, but it gives them the momentum necessary to kind of sit there and say, hey, we just lost one of our leaders, but we can kind of do this without him. We can lift each other up and go. For Fishers, it's kind of the same thing. Not necessarily saying Carlos Davis was your leader, but you missed out on your quarterback. You've had so much turmoil in the last, couple of months or so, losing 9 straight games. If you're able to pull out this upset, you're not making the playoffs. I mean, let's call a spade, but at the same time, you go to 4-9. That's 4 more wins than some people might have predicted, man. That's still a very, very good season. The best you can do is 4-12, but that's not a bad season overall. And there's still more games for you to pull some upsets and get some victories if that is the case to be. I have 8.5 here, or plus 8.5 here. I think Fishers, if they can get the running game going, and this could also be a thing for under 83.5, because if Fishers wants to get that running game going, Hassan Rogers is a very run-first quarterback. He has been playing running back and wide receiver for this team. I think both these teams are going to run the ball really, really well, and that does give Fishers an opportunity to stay close in this game. It's over a touchdown, so they have to score. Tulsa has to score more than a touchdown in order to kind of get Fishers out of it. The only thing that can kind of switch that up is if, dare I say, Hassan Rogers is just surgical. If he is just carving up that defense, keeping them on their toes, running, passing, doing all of that, we will see. But I've got plus 8.5 here. My prediction, 45-42. I'm calling an upset. I think that momentum, one side kind of riding a high, one side kind of riding a low here. Your quarterback's injured. You got to pick yourself up. This could be a prime spot for an upset. I don't know if I necessarily see it happening. If this was in Fishers, I could possibly see it. It's in Tulsa, though. I'm still calling an upset, but I'm just calling it for S's and G's. Man, I do think Tulsa can pull out this victory, but I do think Fishers will cover. My thing about it, though, is I'm going to pull an upset, or I'm going to call an upset here. I think Fishers riding that wave of momentum, seeing what they have in Vincent Espinoza, bringing in Josiah King. That running game looks pretty good again. We'll see how it goes. But plus 8.5, 45-42. I think Fishers could pull an upset here, and that's where we have it. So with that, let's go take a look at our second preview as we continue on. All right, second preview of the 5 tonight. We have another 7:05 p.m. Central Time kickoff. Where else? The Indoor Football League Network. The 6-5 Massachusetts Pirates taking on the 9-3 Quad City Steamwheelers. Oh, buddy, we have some implications in this one. Let's take a look at our season leaders for Massachusetts. Kenji Bahar, 144 of 235, 1,438 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 picks. Daquan Neal, 103 of 177, 1,260 yards, 26 touchdowns, 5 picks. Rushing leaders, Puka Williams, 133 carries, 549 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Daquan Neal, 87 carries, 429 yards, and 12 touchdowns. And your receiving leaders, Tio Redding, 35 catches, 466 yards, 9 touchdowns. Jordan Vesey, 28 catches, 405 yards, 11 touchdowns. Looking down at our injury report, the only person to add, Ty Smith for Massachusetts. A couple of guys for the Pirates have been taken off, released, what have you. Quad City just has kind of stayed the same for the last couple of weeks, months, what have you. Taking a look at our game odds over here, we have an over-under of 78.5, so Vegas kind of calling a moderate to lower scoring game. And then a minus 3.5 for Quad City. Ignore that -1. I just forgot to type in 3.5. But minus 3.5, plus 3.5 for Massachusetts on the road, plus 130 for the money line, and minus 155 if you want the favorite in the Steamwheelers at home. We are at Vibrant Arena at the Mark in Moline, Illinois, 7:05 p.m. Central Time kickoff, and our series head-to-head 4-3 in favor of the Quad City Steamwheelers, with them getting the victory all the way back in week 2. So it's been a long time since these two teams have seen each other. Quad City getting that victory 37-33. So with that, let's go take a look at our 25-man rosters, our bet and prediction, as we continue on with preview number 2. All right, let's take a look at the 25-man rosters as they pop up over my face, and we start with the away side. Kenji Bahar, most likely your starting quarterback, but backup, possible starter, I'm not sure. Talia Tagovailoa, Tua Tagovailoa's younger brother, the pride of the Maryland Terrapins and former Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback. Yeah, he's been signed. That's what Massachusetts does, man. Puka Williams, your running back, and then the wide receivers, Tio Redding, Stephen McBride, Thomas Owens, Isaac Zico. You gotta remember too, quick side note, they did sign Cardale Jones last year or a couple years ago, so another big-time Big Ten quarterback. Offensive line, Jordan McCray, Chris Murray, Navon Donaldson, Dante Lucas. And on the defensive side of the ball, Jacques Bristol, Guy Thomas, Mike Mason, DJ Dale, and Terry Beckner Jr. for that defensive line. Linebacker, Marquise Waters, and in the secondary, DJ Daniel, Teldrick Ross, Matt Elam, Destin Mack, off of short-term injured reserve. Smoke Monday, Marquise Floyd. Kicker is Josh Gable. Over to the Quad City side of things, not really any changes for Quad City. Daquan Neal, Seth Morgan, your quarterbacks, with Neal being your starter. Tyler King and Jared Ware for the running backs. Although, side note on this, I didn't see Tyler King, unless his number got changed, I didn't see Tyler King on Quad City's website. So whether or not he's hurt, whether or not he's cut, I'm not sure. But I didn't see anything on the IFL transactions, so he stays on the roster sheet. Daquan Dudley, Tamarian Terry, Deion McShane, Kevon Rudd, Jordan Vesey for the wide receivers, Joe Crowell, Javion Caldwell, Ivory Scott Jr., and Tyrone Chambers rounding out the offensive line. I think that's Ivory Scott Jr., right? Is he a junior? I can't remember. Anyway, defense, Kadir Shepard, David Cagle, Keyshawn Moore, and Chima Dunga. Linebackers being Bubba Arslanian, Brian Lee. And then in the secondary for Quad City, Trey Smith, Chris Chukwuemeka, Nicholas Harris, Malik Duncan, and Cameron Harrell. Kicker is Kyle Kaplan, and that is your 25-man roster for Massachusetts, your 25-man roster for Quad City. Let's go take a look at our bet, our prediction, and we are almost halfway done with our previews. All right, bet and prediction time for this one. Plus 3.5 for the Pirates. Now hear me out. Massachusetts has been playing really well. Quad City has not been playing really well, and a lot of it can be attributed kind of to the schedule. It's kind of what I talked about last year with Green Bay. It's who you have played. Quad City has played Fishers. They've played Iowa multiple times, and I know the East has kind of done that, but from where Quad City has been lately, they need to step it up. I mean, as simple as that. They need to step it up, because the teams that they've played earlier in the season are the teams that they're going to be playing later in the season. When you look at, Massachusetts, when you look at Jacksonville last week, you're not playing Fishers, you're not playing Iowa. These are teams with real ambitions. These are teams with playoff positions. These are teams that will beat you. And if you can't beat those teams while the postseason rolls around, you're staying home after that first weekend. So, in order for Quad City to get this, the offense needs to come up with something, man. They did not look good against Jacksonville, and that could just be Jacksonville's defense. But Massachusetts does look really good right now. Ever since their West Coast trip, where they lost to Tucson and they lost to Northern Arizona, Massachusetts has looked pretty good. Now, Massachusetts absolutely needs this one to continue their playoff push, because if the last preview we did with Fishers and Tulsa, if Tulsa wins that game, that puts a lot of pressure on Massachusetts. If Tulsa loses that and Fishers wins, Massachusetts wins this one, they are right in the thick of it. However, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't really done a deep dive to the playoffs yet, if Quad City wins this, I do believe Quad City clinches a playoff spot, because it'll drop Massachusetts to 5-7, and the best that they can do is 9-7. Quad City gets their 10th win, and Massachusetts is 5th in the East. So I do think Quad City can clinch a playoff spot if they win this game. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be really wrong here, because that means the worst that Quad City can do is 10-6. But I mean, that just drops them to the 4th seed. Now, could be wrong here, because I think Fishers and stuff, well, Fishers has 9 losses. So yeah, I think this can clinch Quad City a playoff spot. Now, Massachusetts to win this, Kenji Bahar and company need to play well. Puka Williams can run the ball really well. That defense can step up. Matt Elam in that secondary, if they can, force Daquan Neal to turn the ball over, get him some happy feet and pressure him, there's an opportunity for Massachusetts to get there. On the other side, you need to have long sustained drives for Quad City. You can't keep that defense out there. It seemed like Quad City's defense was out there quite a bit against Jacksonville, and they were just racking up the points as they blew them out. So that's where I kind of have it. If you can have your defenses on either side kind of step up, force some 3-and-outs, some turnovers, I'm not saying it's going to be a defensive battle. Vegas kind of thinks that with a 78.5 over-under, but for me, this is a chance for Massachusetts to take it. And I think they do. My prediction, 41-38 for this one. I think Massachusetts has an opportunity. That's just kind of where I have it, man. I know it's a short and sweet for the prediction, but I don't know. This is a tough game, because one team looks very beatable. The other one looks, they both look very beatable, but one team looks way more beatable than the other. And I'd much rather predict a Massachusetts win and keep the ball rolling, unless Quad City says we're tired of losing. We're tired of having games like this, and they come out and just kind of destroy them. I think it's a lot more closer than I would predict either team blowing each other out. So that's the reason I have it where I have it, plus 3.5 and 41-38 in favor of Massachusetts. So let's go take a look at our third preview as we keep the previews rolling along. All right, so let's talk about preview number 3 as we keep going. I think this is our final earlier kickoff. We have a 7:05 p.m. Central Time kickoff, as we do on the Indoor Football League Network. The 8-4 Jacksonville Sharks traveling to Des Moines to take on the Iowa Barnstormers, who are 1-10. Season leaders for both sides: Tyler Huff, 48 of 64, 409 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick. James Cahoon's 161 of 281, 1,758 yards, 33 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Tyler Huff, 74 carries, 446 yards, 15 touchdowns. James Cahoon, 19 carries, 45 yards, and no touchdowns. Receiving leaders: Jaden Stoshak, 36 catches, 468 yards, and 13 touchdowns, and Kean Williams, 65 catches, 817 yards, and 15 receiving touchdowns. Taking a look at our injury report here for both sides, the only addition here for Jacksonville is Brandon Munoz has added a short-term injured reserve, and for Iowa, Hunter Clausen has been downgraded from short-term to season injured reserve. Other than that, not really much to speak of. Taking a look at our game odds, we have an over-under of 94.5. We are expecting some points in this game. And then plus 14.5 for the Barnstormers at home. They are a huge home underdog. Plus 380 if you want to bet them straight up. And then minus 500 if you want Jacksonville on the road as the favorite. We are in the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa, and our series head-to-head favors the Sharks 2-0, with their last meeting being Week 7 of this year. Jacksonville getting the victory 53-22. So big victory for the Sharks in this one. We'll see if they can continue their ways. So with that, let's go take a look at our 25-man roster, bet and prediction. We just keep going. All right, let's take a look at the 25-man rosters as they pop up over my face, starting with the away side for Jacksonville. Tyler Huff and Blaine Espinoza are your quarterbacks, Huff being the starter, Espinoza as your backup. Running backs: Larry McCammon, DeMontre Tuggle, Vance Bennett. Bennett doesn't have a number, so I don't think he suits up. Wide receivers: Karan Ashley, Jaden Stoshak, and Marcus Rogers, with Khalil McLean. Same thing, no number. I don't think you're suiting up. Offensive line, Eric Harris, Bryson Broadway, Leon Brown, Dominic Jackson, and Kenny Furman. On the defensive side, Kayvon Bennett, Giamonte Peck, and Raymond Cutts, newly signed. He doesn't have a number that I last saw on Friday night, so I do think Dominic Jackson got the start on the defensive line, if I'm not mistaken, in the game against Quad City. Linebacker Hayden Hatcher, and in the secondary, Jay Davis, Tyrese Ross, Richie Coffey, John Huggins, Malik Jones, and Lacaria Pleasant Johnson. Rounding it out with Dylan Barnes as your kicker, and we move over to the Iowa side of things. Grant Rohach and James Cahoon for your quarterbacks, with Cahoon being your starter. Joe Noden, Kean Williams, Jalen Bracey, Caleb Hood, Raheem Harvey, and DeMonte Martin. Those are your wide receivers, excuse me. Your offensive line includes Devin Hayes, Tyler Castaneda, Terrence McLean, and Paul Fay. To the defense, Patrick Godbolt, Joshua Ellison, Tyler Tate, and Jared Johnson for that line. Linebackers include Kadri Jackson and Ja'Cory Johns. And in the secondary, new signees, Ja'Cory Benjamin and Angelo Gross. And then the veterans, I guess, Caleb Street, Gabe Amigatcher, Jared Sod, and Cam Mitchell-Johnson, with your kicker being Gabriel Rui. That's your 25-man roster for Jacksonville, your 25-man roster for Iowa. Let's go take a look at our bet and our prediction as we roll along. All right, bet and prediction time, and this one will probably come back to bite me, but plus 14.5 for Iowa at home. Why? Backdoor cover. I don't know. Jacksonville is 3-3 on the road. They looked really, really good against Quad City, and maybe I'm just salty about that. No, not really. I mean, I am, but I'm not. Not when it comes to this. We know Jacksonville's going to run the ball. We also know that Iowa's defense is just kind of atrocious. But we do know that Iowa was kind of able to go toe-to-toe with Vegas for a quarter. They have played some close games, and there have been some games where Iowa has gotten blown out. But I don't know. This looks like a good opportunity for Iowa to maybe, and this is probably my last hope for Iowa of betting for them or with them or whatever. If they don't cover a spread here, which I'll be honest, I'm not really predicting it that much, but if they don't cover the spread here, it's no, I'm done betting Iowa. That's just how it goes, man. I got a plus 14.5. Iowa's going to air it out. We know what they do from time and time again. They're not going to run the ball. Jacksonville's defense can zero in on that. This could go sideways really quick. Turnovers, sacks, things like that. James Cahoon has gotten lit up, and maybe I'm trying to talk myself into minus 14.5, but there's something about it where I'm just like, all right, plus 14.5. Let's see if we can just roll the dice and be a little risky here. I don't know, because minus 14.5 now seems very, very appealing. The more I talk about it, the more I'm just like, man, what can you do? So maybe I'll talk myself out of it, but I'll keep it plus 14.5. I'll ride with it. But Jacksonville can dominate this game. If things go sideways quickly, Jacksonville can dominate this game. They can run the ball, control the clock, force turnovers, get sacks, and that offense can just be absolutely lethal. I don't think Iowa's going to win this game. My prediction for this one, 49-40. I think Iowa can put up points. I do. And along with that running game with Jacksonville, I think Iowa can hopefully keep it close and see how they go from there. But again, when you have ball hawks like Malik Jones, Jay Davis, the rest of that core, Hayden Hatcher trying to sack you, I mean, we'll see. But we need Kean Williams, we need Joe Noden, we need Raheem Harvey and the like, Caleb Hood, Jalen Bracey, what have you. We need all of these guys to step up, have a good game, and at least cover. So there we have it, plus 14.5 and 49-40 for my prediction in this one. Jacksonville can take it. I'll be honest, I see more of a Jacksonville blowout than I do a close game, but come on, Iowa, prove me wrong here. With that, let's go take a look at our 4th of 5 previews. All right, preview number 4 of 5 for Saturday. We have an 8:05 p.m. Central Time kickoff on the Indoor Football League Network. The 8-4 Green Bay Blizzard taking on the 7-5 Arizona Rattlers. And if you would have told me in Week 15 that the Green Bay Blizzard would have a better record than the Arizona Rattlers, I would have looked at you and said, no. But here we are, man. Here we are. Arizona losing 4 straight games. They need to get it going here. We'll talk about it. Let's take a look at our season leaders for both sides. Max Miler, 157 of 261, 1,861 yards, 44 touchdowns, 6 picks. Dalton Sneed, 181 of 216, 1,982 yards, 34 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Rushing leaders, Miler again 94 carries, 510 yards, 20 touchdowns, and Ron Brown Jr. 85 carries, 394 yards, 17 touchdowns. Receiving yards for both sides, TJ Davis 39 catches, 530 yards, 15 touchdowns, and Isaiah Houston 56 catches, 702 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Taking a look at the injury report, nothing really new to report for Green Bay, and Arizona has added 2 players, Corey Reed and Cordell Brewster, to the short-term injured reserve. Taking a look at our game odds, we have an over-under of 96.5, and there's nothing. We have a pick'em, and minus 110 on either side, whoever you want. So they're giving some favor to Green Bay going on the road and beating Arizona. Speaking of home, we are in the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona, and the series head-to-head. 8-0 in favor of Arizona, with them having that comeback victory all the way back in Week 3. We have a lot of rematches from like Week 2 and Week 3 in this Week 15 slate. Arizona getting the win 51-47, as these guys renew, not really a rivalry, but they renew some old some games all the way back from 2016, 2017, when Arizona joined the Indoor Football League. But with that, let's go take a look at our 25-man roster, bet and prediction. We move on. All right, 25-man rosters popping up over my face. We start with the away side, as we always do. Quarterback Max Miler is going to be your starter. TJ Davis, I know he's listed as an athlete, but I keep him at the quarterback spot. Running back Jalen Cagle, and then your wide receivers, Andre Williams, Zane Lewis, Lowell Patron, and Jazarick Peterson. Offensive line for the Blizzard, Devin Johnson, Jake Parks, Roderick Williams, and Andrew Carter. Defensive line, Devin Rice, Rafiq Abdul-Wahid, Tremont Lofton, Allen Henry, and Sean Mustin. Linebackers include Andre White and Jalen Johnson. And in the secondary for Green Bay, Nigel Canada, Mamadou Mbai, Kevin Ransom, Khalil Finley, a new signing, Cale Jackson Jr., and Naeem Alexander, with your kicker rounding it out being Andrew Mevis. Over to the Arizona side of things, Drew Powell has been signed back as your backup quarterback. Maybe he gets the start, ? There's been some fuming from Kevin Guy in one of his recent press conferences. Dalton Sneed as your other quarterback. I think Sneed still starts. Ron Brown Jr. is your running back, and in the wide receiving category, Jamal Miles, Johannes Tyler, Isaiah Houston, Jordan Parker, Trey Dixon, and Austin Johnson. A lot of firepower there. A couple of guys coming off of short-term injured reserve. Bryson Mays, Christopher Straughter, and Lamar Mady at the offensive line. Kevin Sims, Rashawn Yates, Isaiah Coe, James Nimwaya, Jalen Bass for that defensive line. Rashawn Yates has been re-signed. Linebacker Jalen Campbell. And in the secondary, Jermaine Dobbs, Devontae Merriweather, Deontay Overstreet, Acho So, Amari Alexander, and Ethan Castleberry. Your kicker being Dawson Evans. That is your 25-man roster for your Green Bay Blizzard, your 25-man roster for your Arizona Rattlers. And with that, let's go take a look at our bet and our prediction and gather what we can for this one. All right, bet and prediction for this one. I'll keep it short and sweet. Rattlers money line. They have to have a get-right game. If they lose this game, there is something that needs to be done in that. I don't even know if it's the front office, because a couple weeks ago, I think when Arizona lost to Vegas, I believe, it was Kevin Guy saying some guys are going to lose their jobs or lose playing time or whatever the case could be. I didn't really see a lot of releases, so I'm not sure what he meant by that. I'm not trying to call it his credit or anything like that. That's not my point. Point being here is who's going to step up. Because that's what Kevin Guy wants. He's calling these players out to say who's going to step up. Green Bay comes off an atrocious Hail Mary loss, drops them to 8-4. They had an opportunity to, I think, take the number 1 seed, and they need this win. If Quad City gets the victory over Massachusetts, and Green Bay loses, it puts them even further back towards that 1 seed. So Green Bay needing a little bit of help. They need this win on the road, and to finally beat Arizona after all these years could be something huge for the Blizzard. Another thing to kind of get another monkey off of their back after the playoff drought and everything for Green Bay in the last couple of years. So this could be a huge thing to gear them up for the playoffs. Like I said, for Arizona, on the other hand, you got to stop the bleeding somewhere. And it could be this game. Green Bay comes in. You know you have never lost to them. This is an opportunity for you to win your 8th game. Chance at, some other Western Conference foes to drop some games here. And you could potentially move up the seeding if games can kind of go your way. I got minus 110, my prediction for this one, 48-51. Arizona takes it. It's close. I don't know if it's necessarily a comeback victory like it was the last time these two teams played, but it could be a nice little back and forth battle. We know that both teams are going to run the ball, hopefully pretty well. Ron Brown has run the ball, for all intents and purposes, really, really well. We know Max Myler can run it, Jalen Cagle can run it, and the passing games for both teams have been all right. A little more subpar for Arizona lately, and then Green Bay, they've looked good, but we know Green Bay can also put up a lot of points, and that's why the over-under is at 96.5. I think Vegas is expecting a lot of points in this one. I don't know if I necessarily believe it, but we know the defenses can be kind of suspect at times. Look at Green Bay against Fishers. Arizona's given up quite a bit of points as well. I know not against Bay Area, but they have given up quite a bit of points at times. So there we have it, minus 110. I think Arizona gets off the schneid, and a 51-48 victory for the Rattlers at home. So take a look at our final preview of the evening. All right, final preview of the night. We have an 8:05 p.m. Central Time kickoff on the Indoor Football League Network. We have the 9-2 Bay Area Panthers taking on the 1-11 Northern Arizona Wranglers. Yeah. The best team versus the worst team. There we have it. And again, the whole rivalry with Bay Area, Northern Arizona, with Bay Area taking the coaches, taking the players, stuff like that. These guys just kind of renewing this rivalry that they have. Season leaders for both sides: Josh Jones, 126 of 216, 1,390 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Ramon Atkins, 102 of 171, 1,012 yards, 15 touchdowns, 4 picks. Jones, 127 carries, 494 yards as your rusher, 14 touchdowns. Ramon Atkins, 35 carries, 164 yards, 8 touchdowns. Receiving leaders: Josh Tomas and Deshaun Stoudemire. Tomas, 37 catches, 432 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And Stoudemire, 56 catches, 637 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Injury report: the only thing to add here, nothing really new for Bay Area. Northern Arizona has David Elder taken off. Edward McClendon has been downgraded to season injured reserve. So a little bit of addition, a little bit of subtraction, I guess, when it comes to Northern Arizona. Game odds: Bay Area is favored by 17.5. That, I believe, is that the largest spread of the season? I think so. So we've had some 14.5s. I think 17.5 is the biggest. There could be another one with Arizona earlier this year, but I think minus 17, or maybe they matched it. Anyway, over under 84.5, minus 800. Not a lot of faith in the Wranglers. Minus 800 for Bay Area on the road, plus 550. So a $10 bet nets you $55 if Northern Arizona pulls it out at home. We are at the Finlay Toyota Center in Prescott Valley, Arizona, and our series head-to-head 5-4 in favor of Northern Arizona, but Bay Area has been catching up. They won the last meeting 50-28, week 4, so another earlier game rematch here with these two teams. Anyway, let's go take a look at our 25-man roster, bet and prediction. We'll get out of here. All right, let's take a look at the 25-man rosters as they pop up over my face, starting with the away side first. We have Josh Jones, your starting quarterback for the Bay Area Panthers, and Liam Thompson backing him up. Wide receivers include Josh Tomas, Tosin Oyekanmi, Tyrese Chambers, B.K. Smith Jr., Trayvon Alexander, and Trey Goodman. Your offensive line: Christian Coulter, Sidney Walker, Jamie Navarro, and Devin Salter. Defense: Tavon Grant, Jonathan Ross, Morris Joseph, and EJ Anai on the line. Linebackers: BJ Tofalele and Wes Bowers. And in the secondary, Trey Meadows, Tyler Watson, Joe Fouché, Frankie West Jr., Landry Mavungu, and Tyrese Wright, with Axel Perez, your kicker, rounding it out. Over to the Northern Arizona side, Caleb Lowe and Ramon Atkins. Let's see who starts. Caleb Lowe started the last game against Tucson. We'll see if Atkins starts. I mean, he got back into the game as Lowe was not able to really do much with it, but we'll see. Nolan Susel, Marvin Kinsey for the running backs. Wide receivers include Deshaun Stoudemire, Gary Brown, Arlen Bruce, Marlon Cook, Kobe Smith, and David Elder. So bringing Elder back could bring a little bit more firepower to that receiving unit. Junior Tuatasi, Chris Simon, DJ Stuckey, and Ryan Atkins on the offensive line. And then in the defense, Darius Johnson, Karan Bolden, Devin Thomas, and Mason Newton for the defensive line. Linebackers, Travaris Farrell and Kalen Hicks. We'll see. I think it's been Hicks at the linebacker. Farrell has been kind of dropping back into the secondary. Bakembe Carney, Malik Saunier, Devaya Gabor, and Simeon Burns rounding out that secondary in the defensive backs. Kicker is Michael Hall. And that is your 25-man roster for Bay Area, your 25-man roster for Northern Arizona. Let's go take a look at our bet and our prediction, and we will get out of here. All right, bet and prediction time for this one. Plus 17.5. I don't really keep track of my bets. I mean, I do, but I don't. I know they're like, oh, I picked Northern Arizona 45 times this year. Some people do. Perfectly great. Not knocking them. I don't. But I think the last few times I have picked Northern Arizona and cover, they have. So we're going to go back to the well on this one. 17.5. I think it all kind of hinges on Ramon Atkins, his rushing ability. He did not really rush the ball that much last week, or at least maybe I didn't really fully look at his rushing stats, but it didn't look like he didn't start the game, so maybe there is an ailment that he has had or something, and they didn't really want to exude that. So if he can run the ball, if Northern Arizona can run the ball, and we know Bay Area's defense is always going to be stingy and good, especially against the run. Look at what they did against Arizona last week. But if we are able to get the offense of Northern Arizona going, and we are able to get maybe the defense of Northern Arizona to step up, make a couple of plays, they don't have to be world beaters. We're asking them to cover, not upset, but we're asking them to do just a little bit more here to cover a plus 17.5 spread that's over 2 touchdowns. Now we know Bay Area can score in droves. They've done it a couple of times this season, but they have had lower scoring games, and sometimes when they are up big, they kind of just let their foot off the gas a little bit. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do, and that could be a referendum on the other side just not being good as Bay Area continues to score or not score. But plus 17.5, Bay Area, they do have an opportunity here to flex their muscle. I don't think they can clinch a playoff spot yet. I'm not sure, but I do not think they have that ability yet. It's going to be a little bit, maybe another week or two to kind of see how the games play out, but they're very, very close to clinching a playoff berth. This win, if they win, can inch them a little bit closer. I do think they win. My prediction for this one, 49-38. Again, Northern Arizona covers, but still it's an 11-point victory, and you're still allowed 6 more points after that. So you could see a 56-38 victory. You still cover with that. So that's, well, do you? That'll be 18. Never mind. Well, then 55, I guess. Screw it. 55-38. And that's where you kind of have it. I mean, it still looks like a blowout, but at the same time, it's you cover. But that's where I have it. I think Bay Area can come out, flex their muscle a little bit. Northern Arizona maybe score some garbage time touchdowns, maybe get a nice kickoff return. They've been really good at having that lately. And it's just something along those lines. And I'm not trying to count Northern Arizona out, but they have to play a perfect game. And they have to have Bay Area play a less than perfect game, or not even like a good, they have to have a bad game. One of those games where you're just like, huh? Like the very first week against San Antonio, in hindsight, you look at that and go, how? But I just don't see it. We got plus 17. They cover 49-38. Our score. That's where we have it. Let's wrap up and get out of here. And that is it for our Week 15 preview. 5 games on the docket. We have 1 to go on Sunday for our Week 15 slate of all of our games and stuff like that, with San Antonio and San Diego getting the byes, and then we'll have even more as the 4th of July weekend approaches. There's only 3 games to speak of for that entire weekend, so nice little chance to catch up and do everything along those lines. But for this one, 5 games, 10 teams. We'll see how it goes. 3 games kicking off at 7, 2 games kicking off at 8. Well, at least Central Time. Adjust your clocks accordingly, but that's where we have it. So with that, I'm going to take off here, edit, do all that stuff, and get it out so you guys have a chance to watch it. Because if you're at this point in the video watching it, it means that the video is up and you've gotten to this point, so you're roughly an hour in or so, I think. So with that, I'm going to take off here, guys. Love and appreciate every single one of you. If you want to, you haven't already, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. If you don't, that's cool too. But anyway, I'm going to take off here, guys. Like I said, love and appreciate every single one of you. I will see you for the Sunday preview, and I'll catch you in the recaps and all of that stuff. Until then, see ya.